Can you tell us your name and where you're from?
Yeah, my name is Colin. I'm from Phoenix, Arizona.
I noticed that you are wearing an Andrew Yang shirt
Yes.
and a Donald Trump hat.
Yes.
Can you tell us why it seems as though you support both candidates?
Yeah, so Yang would be my first pick, but he did drop out, so I have to switch to Trump. Yang is the most moderate, logical Democrat that I see, and he's really the only one that I agree with in most, policy-wise, just in general. So I like Yang more, but since he's out, I cannot even stand any of the Dems, so I just went with Trump.
One of the things that I've thought of is I think there's room for Andrew Yang in a Donald Trump administration, 2021 administration. Do you agree with me?
Yeah, I totally do. Right when he dropped out, that was like my first thought, that he should be even in the, part of the cabinet or just anything. I mean, I know that I saw the White House doubled their budget on spending for AI and trying to keep up with the fourth industrial revolution. So I can see that happening. So I think Yang would be a perfect fit. And then the not left, not right thing, I think he would fit perfectly in there too.
Under the Department of Labor is something called the ETA. It's called the Employment and Training Administration. And under that is a sub-agency called WIOC, or maybe it's WIAC. And I think it's like Workforce Information. It's one of those, but basically what that small sub-agency did was it gave information to Trump, and it allowed him to create an executive order that provides what is it called? Apprenticeship, federally subsidized apprenticeship programs for people, especially young Americans that are not able to go to college. I definitely see Andrew Yang being able to have a position in something like that, where he's able to follow through on some of his ideas, because his big idea, right, his freedom dividend, is the idea that if you put money into the hands of Americans, they will know the best ways to use it, and it will empower them to become better citizens. They'll be able to pursue work that is intrinsically meaningful to them, and they'll give back to their society in ways that they were not able to before.
Yeah, 100%. I agree with it. At first, the whole UBI thing, I did not agree with at all. I think most people here wouldn't agree with it at first, but once you learn more about it, hear more about it, you really dive deep into it. I think that it's a policy that a lot of people here would actually like, and I think a lot of people here, like, if I could choose, I would do Yang president, but I think Yang would be a great, even VP pick. Like, get Pence out of it. But yeah, I see what you're saying.
Can I ask you, what is one policy or something that President Trump has done that you support?
My main things would be, I understand the Democrats' approach for the economy and livable working wage and everything. I just don't think that raising a federal minimum wage to $15 an hour is the right idea. I don't think a federal jobs guarantee is the right idea. And then in terms of immigration too, they call Trump a racist for what he says, and policy-wise for immigration. I can see why they say that. I just don't think it's inherently racist. I agree with him on terms of immigration. You see the front runners for the Dems now are total open borders. And then two, with gun control, I think that gun violence is a problem, but the Dems totally mislead it. They, half of gun deaths are suicides. They never want to bring that up. I mean, you can't really punish such a large group of people for such a small portion of it. I mean, you'd ban everything at that point. But it's more so, to be honest, disagreeing so much with the left that it just forces me to be on the right. That's really what it is.
I totally understand that. What is one policy or something that President Trump has done that you do not support?
Everything environmental, in terms of climate change, plastic consumption, single-use plastic, pollution, everything like that. I totally disagree with. He thinks climate change isn't really, he never addresses it, kind of calls it a hoax, whatever, says global warming is natural. I disagree with everything in that aspect.
If you were to have lunch with President Trump tomorrow, what is a policy or something that you would ask him to do?
I don't know if I'd introduce him to the UBI yet. He'd probably say that's super crazy and super radical. I'd probably push for a. I mean, the number one thing would probably be like climate change and single-use plastic, especially. I really did not like when, Dems came out with the straw ban and they said we have way bigger problems than plastic. Let's make Trump straws and sell them. I just disagree with that entirely. He just totally ignores climate change and all pollution, single-use plastic, everything. That's probably what I would talk to him most about.
What do you think of the idea? And this is sort of my answer to if I were to have lunch with him tomorrow. I would ask him to host a roundtable discussion. There's a sign behind you. I would ask him to host a roundtable discussion on the issue of a guaranteed minimum income, because Andrew Yang's freedom dividend is not the only idea, right? Yang wants to tax robots, wants to tax automation, and pay for the freedom dividend that way. But there's another idea proposed by a research group in Washington, and they're more right-leaning. That group is called the American Enterprise Institute, and what they say is that if we transform our social safety net system, if we transform the entitlement programs and we turn them into a strictly cash benefit handout system, we can give more money to every American adult citizen than Andrew Yang's freedom dividend. And we can give $700 a month to every American child, every citizen under the age of 18. So, is that something? Like, what are your thoughts on that?
I would just totally have to look into it. I spent so much time researching the UBI to make sure that I fully understood it. I understood everything, so I could answer every question when it was asked.
Sure.
So yeah, I would just have to look into it more. I don't really know, have an opinion on it. I think that the starting point of $1,000 a month for every 18-year-old plus is a great start. Yeah, and I think he really got his voice out there too. And now way more people. You look at polls. You don't like to look at polls for total accuracy because they don't really reflect everything. But you look at polls, and 10 years ago, barely any Democrats were in support of the UBI. Now it's like over the majority. It's like 65%. So I think he did what he was trying to do. So I would have to look into what you're saying.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, that sounds if it's good, then yes.
Yeah, basically my opinion is that if there is a roundtable discussion where plenty of thought leaders are invited, where it really stimulates a national discussion on both sides of the aisle, I think that the best solution is going to be somewhere in the middle, and that's just personally my opinion.
Definitely. I think that you look at the South has a lot of poverty, and it's a lot of the same poverty areas are poor white Trump supporters. The counties that are 95% plus are super poverty stricken. I think a UBI would be perfect for them. That's another reason I think Yang could have beat Trump overall in the election, is he could have only got stolen a lot of Republican votes. I don't think Bernie would steal a lot of Republican votes.
Do you support him in 2024?
Oh, I would definitely, yes, for sure.
Do you have any projections? Do you have any predictions on what Yang might do this election? Because somebody told me that right after he dropped out, all of the other candidates went straight to his campaign and asked him, "Oh, can you be in my cabinet? Can you be a VP?" Do you think Yang has any plans for this election cycle?
Yeah, I think we'll go with. I think Trump's going to win 2020, so he can't be a part of any Dems cabinet if they don't win.
I agree with you on that.
I think he said he would support whoever's the nominee. I think he's going to do it whenever it's decided, whether it's Bernie or Colin. But yeah, I want to see what he does. I think if somehow a Democrat wins, then yeah, he'll do what he can do best, for sure. I feel like he's actually a real human, not like a full Trump politician. So.
We agree on a lot.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing your perspective with us.
No problem.